Good afternoon. My name is Joshua Dratel, and I'm presenting for Lawline on the Foreign Agent Registration Act, called FARA. I want to thank everybody for attending, and I hope you get something out of this presentation. This will be an hour-and-a-half presentation because there is a considerable amount of material to cover, even for the basics for FARA. And we're going to try to talk about the statute, which is obviously the most important part, which has some density to it. So unfortunately, we'll have to go through that in some detail. And then best practices, basic principles, what the enforcement environment has been historically and what it may look like in the future, given some recent changes in Department of Justice enforcement priorities, particularly with respect to FARA. What we'll cover here is the statutory provisions and their meaning, the evolving culture of enforcement since it was passed a long time ago and back in the 1930s. So this is a statute that's been on the books for a long time. The current enforcement posture, certain compliance issues that lawyers should be aware of for organizations and individuals they represent, and even for themselves as lawyers, because there are provisions that do cover the practice of law. And then we'll look at the horizon, which is, again, somewhat unclear because of the change in administrations in terms of regulations and amendments, and whether Congress will be able to reach some agreement with respect to amendments that have been on the table for years in some cases, and some other instances, probably new amendments that will arise. FARA is an extraordinarily broad statute. It has imprecise and undefined provisions in the sense that some of the language is not easily transferable to other statutes where you can say, oh, this provision means that. In certain instances, you'll see FARA takes the position, and the Department of Justice has taken the position that certain FARA terms do not mean what they ordinarily mean in a typical legal context. And again, we'll look at those as we go through the materials. There's also somewhat of a lack of transparency with respect to FARA, although that is improving somewhat. Historically, FARA was mostly an internal process within the Department of Justice, so you didn't see a lot of litigation.